Welcome to your sales bootcamp. My name is Brandon. I've spent the last 9 years in sales. I started my career selling real estate and today currently sell pharmaceuticals and run an enterprise level sales team. Over the next couple of videos, I'm going to be laying out the fundamentals that you would need to launch or to build your sales career. The first topic that we're going to cover is knowing the competitive landscape. And the first thing that you need to understand about the competitive landscape is your own product or service. There's an acronym that gets thrown around. It's called a SME, or the acronym is SME, and it stands for subject matter expert. Before you can fully understand the competitive landscape and really get into selling, you need to be a subject matter expert when it comes to your own product. The sales reps that join our company, or the new reps, they spend most of their first month strictly learning the different medications that we sell and our process. We ship pharmaceuticals all across the United States, and they need to understand how that process happens before we can realistically expect them to be able to go out into the industry, or rather into the market, and compete against the other competitors. You have to understand how your product works, and you need to be the subject matter expert on that product or service, if it's a service, before you can effectively go out and sell. So let's talk about what it takes to become a subject matter expert. When I was at the payroll company, I remember this was probably within my first 2 months. I had gained an understanding of what we were doing and how everything worked. But I remember I went to go see my manager at one point, and I was asking him, I was like, how long does it take before I can get to the point where I know as much as some of the more senior reps? I think the question was, how long will it be before I know as much as they do? That's probably how I phrased it. And I don't remember exactly how I asked the question, but I remember what his answer was. He immediately turned it back around on me and asked me, well, how long do you want it to take? And what he meant was, and he went on to explain, is how it can take as long or as short as you would like it to. The company that you're joining, or the company that you're at, probably has training for you. But in order to really become a subject matter expert, or to expedite the learning process, it is more likely than not that you're going to have to spend some additional time. This is probably going to be outside of working hours, to really either learn your product, learn your industry, or learn the competitive landscape beyond that. We're using the context of just learning your own product or your own service. If you wanted to compress the timeline that it took to really gain mastery, my recommendation would be to use time outside of your 9 to 5 to study. Now, that can be listening to podcasts. You could listen to podcasts about your industry. You could watch YouTube videos. I mean, maybe you're new in your sales career and this is a video that you're watching outside of work time. All of these things play together and will expedite the learning process if you're really committed to it. When we talk about becoming a subject matter expert, when we talk about mastery in whatever industry or business that you're in, really the goal should be that when it comes to your product or your service, you are the most knowledgeable person in the room. You're able to effectively ask questions, learn what your prospect is looking for, and you have enough knowledge about your product or your service to then tailor that presentation, or to tailor your presentation to exactly what they're looking for. It has been my experience that with new salespeople, they get excited about all the different things that your product or service can do. And the reflex is just to explain all of those benefits and features to whoever your prospect or your client is. The most effective salespeople, though, can ask questions to learn what's important to each client or to each prospect. And then they present the benefits or the features of that product or service directly to what they're looking for. You do not want to overwhelm whoever you're presenting to. You want to be concise, you want to be precise, and the way that you're able to do that is by becoming the subject matter expert. Now, we've been talking pretty conceptually about knowing a product or a service, so I want to use a real life example. I have here a Pokemon card. Let's let this Pokemon card represent my product or service. Before I were to go out into the marketplace and try and sell this, the one thing that I should prioritize is knowing everything about the card that I'm holding here. So in the trading card space, that would mean, what era is this card from? What year was it printed? What makes it special? You can see that it's encapsulated and graded. What company did that? Is that my company? How do those companies compare against each other? So the company that graded this card, PSA, how does that compare to the other grading companies that are out there? If I'm trying to sell this card, that's a benefit or a feature that I should know. The rarity, how many of these cards exist, what the grade is. You need to know every detail, the ins and outs of each detail, in order to effectively sell this product. Now, when I go to sell this product, what I would do is, whoever I'm trying to sell it to, ask them questions about what they're looking for. So, what kind of cards are you looking to add to your collection? Do you already have this card? Are you missing this card? If you were to purchase this card, what grade would you want it in? Who would you want it graded by? And all along the way, I'm understanding what that person is looking for, so that when I go to present this product, I know exactly what I'm presenting to make it make sense to that prospect or to that client. That's how we put this all together. Hopefully you're able to take something from this video. This video is just one of a series. In the next video, we're going to be going over your target ICP. So if you don't know what the acronym ICP even stands for, then make sure that you watch the next video. Thank you.